Third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, 20th verse. Karmannaiva hi samsiddhim asthita janakadayah loka sangraham me va api sampashyan kartum arhasi. Indeed, Janaka Adayah, Janaka, King Janaka and others, Karmana by action eva alone, Samsiddhim perfection, Asthitaha attained, Api also Loka Sangraham for the guidance of people, eva only, Sampashyan having in mind, Kartum action, performing action, Arhasi one should. So Sri Krishna tells to Arjuna, till now he was telling that one should perform actions without attachment. Now he is saying that indeed it is only through action that Janaka and other people attained perfection. And just for the sake of guidance of other people, one should perform action. Loka Sangraha. One should perform action for the guidance of other people. That means, this of course means that a person who is having a position in society or life should ensure that that person acts in a manner or does action so that people who follow that person should also act. For example, a teacher should study. If the teacher doesn't study, how will the students study? The parents, they should have proper value systems, and also they should be moral. They should have high moral standards which they practice. Because if they don't do this, how will the children follow? Similarly, a leader of society, a person who is in a position, say a minister or a person who is in an administrative position like the district magistrate or something, should perform actions in a manner that people will follow him or her. That is the idea. And so first one has to not give up action, because it is only by doing action that Janaka, who is supposed to be, who is called Raja Rishi, royal sage. So Janaka was a king, but at the same time that person was a sage. He was a rishi. So by doing actions, not by giving up actions, one can attain perfection. It is easy to go on giving lectures on things that this should be like this, etc., etc., but very few people can actually do it. So we have no dearth of people, we have no want of people who can lecture on how things should be. But most often it is seen that people who give such lectures cannot do things themselves. So that shows that it is easy to talk about things, but very difficult to actually do them. And that is why Janaka and others, means such people who excelled in action, by their action they led society. They led others, they became leaders by their actions. So not words but actions. And that will do what? Loka Sangraham. Sri Krishna says that it is only actions which can actually guide people, not giving lectures or not giving words of advice. If you, as it is told, leading by example. If you practice something, if you do something, then you can automatically lead by that example. And in the same sense, on the same lines, Sri Krishna says in the next shloka, Yadyat acharati shrestah tattat eva itaro janah sayat pramanam kurute lokah tad anuvartate. Shrestah, the superior, a person who is great or best in some field. Yatyat, whatever, acharati, does, itarah, the inferior, or people who follow that person, janah, people, tat tat, that, eva, only, do. Saha, that superior person, yat, what, pramanam, demonstration, kurute, does, tat, that, lokah, other people, anuvartate, follow. So, whatever a superior person does is followed by others. What that person demonstrates by action, other people follow. So, leaders are not created by wealth, nor by education, or by power. Leaders are created by action. We have seen it again and again in history that people who were completely powerless, without wealth, and also many people without great education in the sense of formal education, actually did lot of things in this world for the world and led people to great revolutions. But people who have power, who have money, who have educational qualifications, mostly we see they are unable to do. Why? Because they are not superior in terms of value systems, superior in terms of the principles they follow, the ideals they follow, and also they don't demonstrate pramanam kurute. They don't lead by example. They don't lead by example. So yadyat acharati shrestah tattadeva itaro janah. Whatever the person who is superior in this aspect, or a person who is a teacher, a person who is a doctor, a person who is respected by society, respected by other people, that person, whatever that person does, people try to follow that person. In this sense, we see that celebrities, in terms of performing arts like music, movies, etc., when they wear a particular kind of dress, that becomes the fashion trend. Then any celebrity of sports, when they do something, so they maybe endorse a particular brand of a product, they endorse the product, then all other people, they start using that product. That is the whole idea of product endorsement, that someone comes and drinks a soft drink and says this is very good, so this soft drink is very good, or uses some soap, or at least on screen says that I use this soap and it is very good. So using the goodwill of that person who is endorsing the product, using the popularity of that celebrity, that product is sold. So that shows that people want to follow one who is adulated, who is respected, who is adored, followed by other people. They want to follow whatever that person does, they want to follow. That means that person has a great responsibility in terms of what that person does, how that person acts, how that person conducts oneself. Any kind of rash, aggressive behavior in the public might be looked down upon by other people, or worse, it could be also followed by other people, which also happens many times. So people try to follow negative aspects of a person who is adored or respected. So that is a very important thing to be noted, that everyone is being followed, is being emulated by some people, or even imitated by some people. The number of people who are emulating you or imitating you, maybe less or more depending upon the influence you exert. But even then, some people are always following. For example, a person who is a parent, so at least that person's children are following or looking up to that person. So how that person acts, how that person behaves is very important. Yat pramanam kurute. What you demonstrate. You may give lectures on truthfulness, but if you are not truthful in your practice, then that is what will be followed by people who are following you. You may talk about honesty, but if you are corrupt in your dealings, that is what people will follow. So it's very important that you practice what you preach or practice what you talk. And so Sri Krishna says immediately, he relates it with his own status, and he says in the 22nd verse, Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nana avaptam avaptavyam varta eva chakarmani. He says Partha, son of Pritha, Kunti, my kartavyam, duty, not asti is. Trishu, in the three lokeshu worlds, anavaptam, unattained, avaptam, to be gained, kinchana, anything, not there. Cha, yet karmani eva, in action, indeed in action, varte, I am. So Sri Krishna says, you see, in the three worlds, the nether worlds, the upper worlds and earth, in three worlds I don't have anything to do. I have nothing anavaptam. I have nothing which is unattained because I am Lord. So I have nothing which is unattained or which is not there with me. Avaptavyam. I don't have anything to be gained. So I have nothing which is not gained. I have nothing which is to be gained. But still I perform actions. So I am Lord. Why should I perform actions? What is the necessity of my performing actions? That is the question. I don't need to because I don't have anything to gain and there is nothing which is not gained by me. Everything is me. I am Lord. I am all pervading. But I am doing action. That means what? I am doing action to pramanam kurute. That is how it is linked to the previous shloka. That I am doing this action to give a demonstration to people. If I were not to act, the rest of the people will not act. Sri Ramakrishna, when he met Totapuri, Totapuri told him that he was doing his spiritual practices, Totapuri. Then Sri Ramakrishna asked, what you are doing? And Totapuri told him that you see there is a brass pot and you have to constantly polish it and only then it will have its shine. So immediately Sri Ramakrishna said, but what if it is a golden pot? Meaning himself, that one need not, there is a stage of a person when one need not even do spiritual practices. This is what Sri Ramakrishna told Totapuri. That means I am in a state higher. So I don't need to practice to keep my state in a higher state. It is always higher because I have become one with the highest. But we do see that Sri Ramakrishna used to regularly, after the Arati in Dakshineshwar, he used to regularly sing the name of Lord, he used to dance, he used to take the name of Lord, etc. Why? Why did he do it? By his own admission, he was in a great state and he did not need to do this, but still he did it. Why? To set an example. So that is what? To set an example. This is to set an example. So here also Sri Krishna says, I have nothing to be gained. I have nothing to, there is nothing which is unattained by me. and there is nothing which is to be gained, but yet I am doing action. Why? To set an example. Yadi hi aham na varteyam jatu karmani atandritah mama vartmanu vartante manushyaha partha sarvashah. Immediately in the next shloka, 23rd shloka of the 3rd chapter, Sri Krishna gives the reason. Why is he doing actions? He says, Partha, O Partha, yadi, if, aham, I, jatu, ever, atandritah karmani na varteyam. Atandritah means, tandra means relaxation, tiredness, rest. Tandra means rest. So, atandritah, without relaxation, restlessly, means without unceasingly, without any stop. Karmani, in action, na, not, varteyam, if I am not doing. If I don't do karma, if I don't constantly engage myself in action, then what will happen? He, indeed, manushyaha, human beings, mama, my, vartma, path, sarvashah, in every way, anuvartante, would follow. So if I, who is looked upon everyone as the ideal or role model, if I were not to work, what would happen? Definitely all people will follow me. That means nobody will work. Everyone will become lazy, or everyone will become dull, inactive, and that would create problem. That would create problem. So that is why I am working, because otherwise people will follow my vartma, means my path. They will follow in my path. He says in the 24th shloka, Utsideyurime loka na kuryam karma chedaham sankarasya cha kartasyam upahanyam imaha prajaha. Chet, if, aham, I, karma, action, na kuryam, would do. Na means not. Ime, these, lokaha, worlds, utsideyuhu, would perish, and cha and sankarasya, of the mixing of races, karta, author, syam, would be, imaha, these, prajaha, beings, upahanyam, would ruin. That means, if I don't do work, then these worlds will perish. Worlds would perish. And I will be the cause of the mixing of races. That means, the mixing of races means, here of course races are not races which are born out of birth. Janma karma, that is guna karma, not janma karma, not born out of birth, but guna, qualities and also action. So if suppose the person is Brahmana, one who has to constantly devote one's time in meditation and thinking of God, etc. How will not doing work create the problem of mixing of castes? How is that going to happen? So nobody will do work, so why will there be a mixing of castes? So the reason is like this. Suppose Sri Krishna, Lord himself, does not do any work. Then he says, Mama vartma anuvartante. People will follow my path and they will also not do any work. If people follow my path and don't do any work, then what will happen? Then he says, Sankarasya cha kartasyam. I would be the karta, I would be the cause of Sankara, Varna Sankara. Varna means caste. So caste here means something which is born out of quality and action. So he says, I will be the cause, I will be the agent of karta, agent of the mixing of castes. How will that happen? So suppose a person is by one's quality and action, Shudra. That means one has to take care of the service of others. If that person doesn't do that, because of following Sri Krishna or following the role model who is supposed to do things, do actions, and he sees or she sees that this role model is not doing anything, so let us follow that role model and doesn't do. What will happen? Services are various kinds of services. So suppose that person has to cook food. Food will not be cooked. If food will not be cooked, then the other person who is engaged in business, Vaishya, that person will have to eat. Without eating, without food, nobody can live. So that person also might follow. But without eating, how can you live? So then that person will then start cooking food. The business person who was supposed to be Vaishya, who was by his or her qualities or actions supposed to do the work of business, earning money, would start cooking, would start doing service activity. And so economy or earning money will be disturbed. If earning money is disturbed, then how can one run the kingdom, or how can one run a government? How can one run the state? So when state cannot be run, so then the king or the governor or the person who is administrator will be forced to look after economy. And now if economy is being looked after the administrator, if cooking or other services are being looked after by the business person, then the person who is supposed to constantly meditate on God suddenly finds that enemies are attacking the state. Now then that person will have to do what? Then that person will have to take over administration. Exactly that is what is happening now. Now across the world, this is what is happening. People who were by their quality and their action, not by birth, quality and action, who had said that we will do service, did not do service. So business people found it difficult to do their business. So what did they do? They started doing service. So railways are not working, privatize railways. So railways is a service. It's not meant to be a business, but the service was converted to business. Business come service. Telephones is supposed to be a service. It's not meant to be business, but again that was converted into business come service, because if business people do service, where will they get their food or their profit from? So automatically they will take some profit from service. So now telecommunication has become business also, service also. So business, which means creation of capital, creation of wealth, that is not happening as it should have happened. When that is not happening, then what happened? Kings or states people who are administrators, they start going to one another and asking for money. That's what is happening. So instead of administering the state, they are going out and asking for money. And if they do that, then the protection of state is at risk. And so the people who are supposed to constantly devote their times to the thinking of God, they have taken over the administration of the state. So now this is how Varna Sankara takes place. So this is all mixing of castes. So everything has become a huge confusion. Why? Because of lack of role models. Because there were some role models who said, do nothing, don't do work. Oh, these people are all torturing you. These people are all creating problem, extorting you. They are creating problem. They are exploiting you. So you don't do work. And so if you don't do work, then all other people start doing work, which is not their work. They start doing other people's work. So this is how mixing of castes take place. So what is the method actually? Not to quit work, but to do work without attachment, to do work in a excellent manner, in a manner which will create evolution. Otherwise, what will happen? All these worlds would perish. Because without action, nothing can sustain itself. For sustenance, you need action. If you construct a building and just leave it at that without maintenance, without cleaning, without proper care, that building will perish. So that is what is being told here. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat.